Okay, so online advertising, right? It can feel a little like, you're going in blindfolded. There's so much going on, so many platforms, so much jargon.
Right.
But what if I told you that Google text ads, they're actually pretty straightforward
Yeah.
and maybe even fun?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what we're diving into today. We're taking apart this marketing tutorial. And full disclosure, it is designed for beginners.
Yeah.
But even if you've got some ad game experience under your belt, stick with us. This deep dive, it's going to surface some golden nuggets, trust me.
What I find fascinating about this particular source material is that it really emphasizes those universal principles
Okay.
for building a really solid foundation
Yeah.
for any kind of ad campaign.
Right.
It's like whether you're building a house, you might not need to be the architect, but you got to understand the blueprints.
You got to know the blueprints.
Right.
And the first blueprint on our list, campaign setup.
Right.
Now, you might be thinking, choosing a campaign type, come on, that's a no-brainer.
Oh.
But this is where we set the stage, my friends.
Oh, absolutely.
This is everything. So the tutorial starts by having us select search as our campaign type. Now, why is that so important?
So choosing search is essentially like, picking that prime real estate.
Okay.
It means your ads are going to show up right there in Google's search results, right, where people are actively like hunting for information, products, services like yours. So if you're picturing those text ads that pop up, when you search for something on Google, boom, that's what we're talking
We're talking about those, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our billboard on the digital highway.
Yes.
Now what? What's next?
All right, so now we need to decide, what do we actually want people to do when they see that billboard?
Okay.
Right. That's where our goal selection comes in.
Okay, so the tutorial uses the example of sales
Yes.
as our main goal.
Right.
With website visits kind of as that like stepping stone.
Exactly.
To get there.
It's like saying, look, I want more customers walking through my door, but first they got to visit my website.
They got to know you exist.
Exactly. And by aligning your campaign with a specific goal right off the bat,
right,
you're essentially telling those Google Ads algorithms, this is what I want to achieve, people.
Just what I want.
Help me out.
Right.
So think of it like, setting your GPS. You got to punch in the destination before you can even get directions.
You got to tell them where you're going. Okay, so speaking of directions, this tutorial really emphasizes something that might seem small.
Okay.
But it's actually huge. Clear naming conventions for our campaigns.
So important.
So they use an example like Landon Hotel Summer Discount Search Ads.
Love it.
And you might be thinking, why be so specific?
Yeah, why?
But just imagine, down the road, you're juggling all these campaigns.
Oh, I know.
It's going to get crazy.
Oh, especially if those campaigns are named something like Campaign 1.
You're right.
New ads. I've seen marketing teams literally lose their minds.
Yeah.
Trying to decode poorly named campaigns.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a nightmare.
You're digging through the trash.
Absolutely. It's like trying to find your keys in the abyss of your purse. You're like, where are they?
It's the worst. Yeah.
Nightmare. Think of clear campaign names like, labels on your tool.
Okay.
You want to know exactly what each campaign is about at a glance, especially when you're digging through data later on, trust me.
Okay, I'm sold on organized labeling.
Yes.
So our campaign is all neatly named and ready to roll, right? What's the next stop on our Google Ads excellent adventure?
All right, so now we need to chat about where these ads are actually going to appear. That's where network selection comes in.
Okay, so the tutorial mentions that Google Ads by default includes something called search partners. What's the deal with that?
Okay, so think of search partners like extending your billboard's reach, right?
Okay.
So beyond just Google's main platform. So this includes places like Google Maps,
Oh, okay.
Google Shopping, even some non-Google sites like AOL. So you're casting a wider net to snag those potential customers.
Okay, so more reach for our message sounds like a win-win, right?
Right.
But the tutorial also kind of throws in a little word of caution with this one.
Yeah, it's always a trade-off, right?
Okay.
I mean, while wider reach might sound super appealing, it can also come with, those increased costs.
Right.
And it can actually make it harder to track which placements are really delivering the goods. Imagine casting a fishing net into a lake that's like overflowing with fish.
Okay.
You're probably going to catch more, but it's tougher to pinpoint exactly which part of the lake yielded that, price catch, right?
You don't know where they're biting.
Exactly.
So it's a balance of reach and then focus.
Yes.
And speaking of focus, the tutorial also advises against mixing campaign types, like Keeping our search and display ads separate.
Yeah.
Why is that so crucial?
All right, imagine trying to analyze your marketing results if all your beta is just like dumped into one giant bucket, right?
Okay, yeah.
It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle where every single piece looks identical.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
It's a mess. By separating your campaigns,
Yeah.
you get a crystal clear picture of what's working and what's not.
Okay, makes sense. Separate campaigns, clearer picture. Got it.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about making sure our ads are actually reaching the right people. The tutorial dives into targeting, and they use, like, a location-based example, right?
Right. So they use Santa Barbara as our target location.
Okay.
So picture this. You're that hotel, the Landon Hotel,
Yeah.
and you're trying to attract those summer travelers. Right. You don't want your ads popping up for people searching for hotels in, like, I don't know, New York City.
No, that's a waste.
You know.
You're trying to sell ice to Eskimos at that point.
Exactly. It's all about making sure your message is hitting those folks who are actually, like, genuinely interested in what you're offering.
Right.
But it's not just about location, though, right?
Right.
The tutorial also hammers home the importance of language selection.
Of course, yeah.
Super important. Imagine seeing an ad in a language you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know? You'd probably just scroll right past it.
Totally. Yeah, 100%.
The example they use is showing French ads to, like, a Spanish-speaking audience.
Right.
Complete miss. Choosing the right language makes sure that your message is actually resonating with the people you want to reach.
It's like making sure you're literally speaking the same language.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got our location, our language, all locked in.
Yes.
What about the budget?
Ah, yes.
That feels like a big one.
The budget. Budgeting, it's like this mysterious creature, right?
It is.
Especially for folks who are just dipping their toes into, like, the advertising pool.
It can be really intimidating.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is.
So the tutorial mentions they're going to deep dive into budgeting a little later.
Okay.
But for now, they want to plant the seed of understanding something called, bidding.
Okay.
Specifically cost per click, and why it's probably a good idea to stick with manual bidding.
Okay, so what exactly does all that mean?
Okay, so picture bidding like you're participating in an auction.
Okay.
But instead of bidding on, like, a fancy painting or a vintage car,
Right.
you're bidding on ad placements.
Okay.
Every time someone does a search on Google, it's like this lightning fast auction happens in milliseconds.
Yeah.
And it determines which ads are going to show up and in what order.
So we're in a bidding war for eyeballs, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and cost per click means we're only charged when someone actually clicks on our ad.
Exactly. You're essentially saying to Google, hey, I'm willing to shell out up to this much cash for each click on my ad, baby.
I like it.
And manual bidding, it gives you, the advertiser, more control over exactly how much you're willing to spend.
I like that control.
Yeah.
Instead of letting Google kind of just like, run wild.
Exactly.
We're setting the budget. We're deciding how much each click is worth to us.
Yeah.
We're calling the shots.
Exactly. And, in the world of advertising, that control is like pure gold.
Okay, it's like we've leveled up, right?
Yeah.
So we've got all these other people bidding, though.
Yeah.
How do we make our ads stand out?
That's where those extensions come in. Think of extensions like adding those extra bells and whistles to your billboard to make it, impossible to ignore.
Okay, so the tutorial describes them as, like, these additional pieces of information that can make your ad more enticing, more informative.
Exactly.
Do you have any examples of how that might work, like, say, with our hotel?
Absolutely. So imagine you're searching for hotels in Santa Barbara, right?
Yeah.
And you see two ads side by side. One just says, Landon Hotel, book now.
Right.
The other one says, Landon Hotel, summer discounts, ocean views, book your stay today.
Okay.
And includes a clickable button to, like, call the hotel directly.
Okay, that second one with all the, like, the goodies,
Right.
that's the one I'm clicking on.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's like choosing between a plain donut and a donut with sprinkles and, all the frosting.
Exactly. You're going to gravitate towards the one that just looks more appealing, that offers more information.
For sure. Okay, so you've piqued my interest. Extensions. I like it.
Yes, and that's what those extensions are all about.
Okay.
They can include things like your phone number,
yeah.
specific promotions,
Right.
location details, or even links to specific pages on your website. Right?
Oh.
So it's all about giving potential customers more reasons to be like, click me,
Right.
over the competition.
It's giving them a little sneak peek of what's on the other
Yes.
side of that click. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about campaign setup, targeting, bidding.
Right.
We've even spiced things up with some extensions.
Yes.
But how do we actually make sure that our ads, they resonate with the right people
Right.
and make them actually want to click? So the tutorial now dives into something called ad groups,
Okay.
and then these mysterious things called keywords.
Oh, yes, the dynamic duo of a successful text ad campaign. Think of ad groups like organizing your tools in your workshop. Instead of just having everything like scattered everywhere,
Yeah.
you're going to group, similar tools together so you can easily find them.
Makes sense. So instead of having like one giant campaign that's trying to be everything to everyone,
Right.
we're creating these like themed groups, each with their own set of keywords and ads.
Exactly. You're like aligning your message with specific user intent. So let's just stick with our land and hotel friends here, right?
Okay.
They might have one ad group that targets like families looking for a summer getaway, right?
Okay.
Another one that's laser focused on business travelers. They want those comfy accommodations.
Right.
Maybe even one for like couples looking for that romantic escape.
Love it.
Each ad group would have its own set of keywords and ads that are tailored to that specific audience.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You're creating these like mini campaigns within your campaign,
Yes.
each one laser focused. Okay, now tell me about these keywords.
Yes.
The tutorial, it gets kind of technical here, talking about keyword match types.
Okay.
They recommend sticking with exact match for beginners.
Yes.
What is the deal with that?
Okay, so imagine you're fishing. You can choose to use a net that just like scoops up anything and everything.
Right.
Or you can use a fishing rod with a specific lure designed to attract a particular type of fish.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So the net, that's our broad keyword match.
Yes.
You're casting this wide net, but you're not necessarily catching what you want.
Right, exactly. So with broad match, your ads, they might show up for searches that are kind of sort of related to your keywords, but not necessarily relevant to what you're actually offering. And that can lead to wasted ad spend, a lower return on investment.
Nobody wants that.
No, exact match, on the other hand, is like using that specialized fishing rod, right?
Okay.
You're being very specific about which searches you want to trigger your ads.
Okay, so by putting those brackets around our keywords, like the tutorial suggests,
Yes.
we're telling Google, only show my ad when someone searches for this exact phrase.
Precisely. It's like that laser-focused targeting.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
So we're only paying for those clicks from people who are actually interested
Exactly.
in what we're selling. Okay, I'm all about that. So we've got our campaign set up.
Yes.
We're targeting like pros.
Yes.
We're bidding strategically.
Yes.
Our ad groups and our keywords are all neatly organized.
Beautiful.
Now for the fun part.
Yes.
Crafting the ad itself.
Right.
So the tutorial breaks down the anatomy of a text ad.
Okay.
The headlines, the descriptions, there's even something called paths in there. What are all those pieces?
Okay, so think of it like this.